Well, welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I'm your host, Ray, and today we're looking at The Crow, movie starring Brandon Lee. His last film tragically lost too soon in life, but this was a comic book adapted movie, similar to the Paul Walker Fast Seven. It took a long while in post production to get the film made because of the passing of the lead character, and they had to use a lot of special effects and tricks to pull it off to get the film completed with a star posthumously was gone while filming. Um, Evie can't be with me this week, but for the sake of what we're going to be doing, this movie was a film that we felt like it should be discussed in small detail. We're not going to focus on the tragedy of Brandon Lee. It was done so many years ago. It spun off, I think, four sequels, and each one is sort of okay in its own right. But we're just going to focus on this film. Michael Wincott plays the villain. You have a couple of distinguishingly well-known actors in this. I mean, Ernie Hudson, he plays the cop in this one. Sophia Shinez plays Shelley. It's a story about a musician, Eric Draven, who was murdered on his wedding night, I think it was, on Halloween. And because of a housing issue, these villains wanted the property to go down and then to control it. I mean, the reasoning behind the story itself isn't that important. It's about a person basically who can't die. Normally everyone would say, about a man, a person who's trying to survive. And the man died. He has come back from the dead and he can't die. So trying to survive is the last thing on his mind. He's actually surviving beyond his need to survive, and so forth. The movie, yeah, it's about a vengeance tale. It's about setting things right. The idea is The Crow is kind of like Ghost Rider, where you have a person who walks the line between the living and the dead. The Crow is his vessel, his avatar, or his connection between the real world and the living and the dead. The Crow is what brings back the soul of Eric Draven to avenge the death of his girlfriend and himself, and to dispatch justice, or if you want to call it justice, or vengeance, or wrath, onto those who did him wrong. Basically, his superpower is that he can't get killed. I mean, so you can shoot him, cut him up, shoot him again, put swords through him. He has an automatic healing. Apparently, he can feel the pain. Like, he does feel those bullets and everything, but like Wolverine, he just heals up right after that. So there is, it's repetitive, and I think, thinking about, like, I don't know what scene it was that took his life, but it changed the industry for safety concerns, especially after what happened on the Alec Baldwin movie Rust. Things that should not be happening, and it's sort of timely to have it now because Rust may go back in production. So I don't know how I feel about that personally. But anyways, back to this movie. It is a tale. It's a love story-ish. It's a love story. Uh, you know what? Ironically enough, it holds up pretty well. I was surprised how well it does hold up. I enjoyed it in that sense. I'm not saying it's timeless, because it's not, but having like a boogeyman character seeking revenge, like the Wraith with Charlie Sheen's character, or it's a walking, talking Jason Voorhees, but like a character who's sort of like he's doing it out of compassion, and like Ghost Rider, if you will, like he did it for love, he did it for compassion. He's trying to save his girlfriend, his fiance, and died, and and the pain that he experiences from what she went through is what saves them at the end. That's kind of like, I'm kind of giving it away a little bit, but in itself, it's sort of beautiful well, I won't say it's beautiful, is not the word I want to use. It is a testament of the writing of the source material, and what the source material had put forth to it. You had Eddie Furlong, who did the sequel, I think it was, and then you had a couple other ones that follow through it. I still think the first is probably the best, or the most poignant, because the message is pure. They refer to Halloween as Hell's Night, and they burn a lot of things down. It's like an effigy of things. So I'm guessing that is very truthful to the source material. I've not read the source material or any, or I mean, I should have read that. So I should have even looked at something of the source material before doing this podcast. I kind of now, in retrospect, kind of feel bad I didn't do that. Uh, but I'm going to say this: I will. I think it's good. I think it holds up still. In terms of like the action sequences, it's very practical stunt effects. It's very practical in its delivery. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some CGI obviously, and of course the stuff to make sure that his character is seen throughout. It's CGI, a lot of really smart and sophisticated CGI to pull off the idea of a man who's now passed on, still performing on the big screen. So kudos to that. I couldn't tell the difference of what's real and what's CGI, So in that sense, it landed, it hit its marks, and it did justice to both Brandon Lee's character and to the quality of this film as a final product. I will say this. I did enjoy it. The villains, I think everyone put their A game. I think probably at some point, knowing what happened, they had to do a lot of reshoots, and wanted to make sure they put the best possible uh, final touches to this movie. Especially knowing this would be Brandon Lee's last final film, and giving it what it needs to be a lasting impression. I think, and it is. It's old, but like I can watch it and I still enjoy it. And if I never watched it before, it still holds up enough to really grab my interest. So it's a thumbs up. Like in terms of its quality of performance, it is not like it is no Endgame. It's no Marvel piece of action. It is a dark, grounded action film of a character who cannot die, similar to that of Highlander, or similar to that of many other like immortal films. But I'd say, you know what, it's worth a watch. Not for its tragic background, but for its story, its truthfulness to the context of its origin, in terms of comic books and graphic novels, and being able to translate onto the big screen, or a small screen, depending on how you watch this. And I think it holds up. I think it's worth watching, and it's just sort of bittersweet to watch. Well, with that, I'm Ray. We'll talk to you later. Take care.